And hey there, hi there, ho there, and a gracious good Saturday morning to you, and a happy 4th of July to you, our Independence Day. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast. As we have not a full crew today, but Jeff, Jared, and I will get you through this next hour or so with the news and excitement of the joy and excitement of U of L women's sports. We do have some things to talk about this week, certainly going on here, and also we do have some interesting moves as far as things go in the ACC coaching world. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. Talk about our beloved Manatee Squeeze, but in lack of having Case with us today, I'm faced with a big dilemma right now. Who is going to do our scheduling and Twitter information today, guys?
Kind of doesn't matter for the scheduling. It's just not much there. Yeah, I'll jump in on it. So I'm Jeff McAdams. I tweet as at Jeff McAdams. Random stuff, political, technical, whatever pops in my mind. The random musings of myself. So I do have Card Couple Radio that has been quiet for quite a while because there's just nothing going on to tweet about from a athletic results perspective. Polly tweets us at Cardinal Couple, so the normal place there. A lot of U of L sports stuff, but occasionally some random other stuff as well comes out of there. And then Jared is Mr. Anderson Jared. Yeah, again, kind of random stuff, personal account, whatever comes to his mind. Some good photography coming across there on a pretty regular basis. That's always fun to watch.
Yeah, I'll get some 4th of July photo shoot pictures out later on. Smoke bomb, sparkler.
Yeah, so you were playing with some smoke bombs recently. I saw on there. That's pretty cool. Those are some cool pictures. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you never know what you can get with those. So
yeah.
A little bit of editing helps it, and I'll get some of those pictures out later on today.
Cool stuff. Yeah. Scheduling, there's not a whole lot. I will mention the Utah Royals, who has Gabrielle Vincent, his former Card, play today, and the Manatee Squeeze will again play today. They'll be off tomorrow based on their typical schedule during the week. So keep an eye out for information on those. It's limited sometimes what we can get from them, but we try to bring you what we can to keep up with a couple of Cardinals active right now. Not too many, but a few.
Definitely so, as we have been kind of, I guess, using the Manatee Squeeze to report to you a lot in the last couple of weeks here. They, of course, have a couple of University of Louisville softball players on their roster right now. The Squeeze are currently in second place down in the Florida Gulf Coast League, but kind of took a whipping from what I saw last night playing. Guys, they were playing a team I wasn't familiar with out of Tampa. I don't think they're part of the actual league, but unfortunately, our Paige Schindler took them out last night. Unfortunate for her, they kind of rocked her like Ted Nugent in that Freedom Hall from years ago. Man, they knocked her all over the place, but I don't think it counted as a league game, so they're still currently in second place, 2.5 games back, I think, of the Riverbucks, who were leading that league down there. Speaking, of course, of Jordan Wolf and Paige Schindler, part of Holly April softball team. Hey, the Manatee have been fun and exciting to watch here, and it's something to kind of keep us going here. I've had the chance to check out stats and watch them a little bit, and certainly very proud of the way both of those are doing there for us, guys. Thoughts on the Manatee?
Yeah, it's about the only sporting events going on right now, which is obviously heightens the interest in a little bit, but it's a good opportunity for these two players, these two U of L players, to go down there and play and get some practice in. Hope they're staying safe with all the coronavirus stuff, particularly as Florida looks to be a new hotspot. It's good softball. Softball's just a fun game to watch. It's crazy that how much more I like watching softball than I like watching baseball, because they're ostensibly such similar sports. But yeah, I think softball's a lot more fun to watch, so it's good to see.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed following along with the the Manatee just because it, like Jeff said, it's something to follow right now.
It certainly is that. I think when you do the comparison between softball and baseball, I don't think pitching is as key an aspect in the game of softball as it is in baseball. Okay, just my own personal take and opinion on that. If you've got a good pitcher in there, certainly in either sport, whether it's on the mound or in the circle, it can make a difference. But I think softball has a little more wide open, kind of free form playing as far as batting goes and strategy and things like that. My personal opinion on it, I will side with you on this, Jeff. I do really enjoy watching softball. Baseball, I can kind of take or leave. Okay, just the way that works out.
Yeah, softball's just so much faster game. It's the pace is faster, everything's closer, tighter, more compact. So I don't know. I just really like it a lot.
Certainly, we'll continue to follow the Manatee as they go through their summer schedule down there in coronavirus-stricken Florida, which I know they're keeping the players safe. They're doing everything they can to do that, but certainly Florida a hot spot right now. So certainly we wish them good health, stay well, wash your hands, girls. What else can I tell you? Huh?
Yeah.
Wear your mask.
Yeah, whenever possible. Yeah.
We got some excellent news come out of the women's college basketball world as one of our beloved Cardinals of all time, Candace Bingham Wheeler, has decided to join forces with good old Becky Burke down at USC Upstate.
Yeah.
She's down there to take an assistant coaching job with the Berkster. Man, what a great news! What a great feel-good story about Candace, guys.
Yeah, it's CB and BB back together again. It's
That's right.
It's fun. I think they had a stint where they were doing coaching together, but yeah, it's kind of neat to see them both doing well and in D1 level even. I mean lower D1, but definitely D1 level. And we kind of have watched Becky Burke's career for a while and saw that she was on a trajectory to get there pretty quickly. So it's not too terribly surprising. But yeah, it's great to see Candace show up there and get a great opportunity to further her career as well.
Jared, Candace is leaving Bellarmine here locally where she was an assistant coach, and I do feel kind of sorry for them in the aspect of losing her for Chancellor Dugan and them over there, but certainly what a great opportunity for Candace to get up there and actually get a chance to show what she can do and be heavily involved in recruiting as well down there for USC Upstate, Jared.
Yeah, it's tough for Bellarmine in that aspect to lose such a great assistant coach, but at the same time, if you look at it from Candace Bingham Wheeler's point of view, what she's doing is she's moving up in the world. She's now moving on to an established D1 program. As Jeff mentioned, it's more the lower D1. It's not going to be a Power 5 conference, as opposed to where Bellarmine has been in D2, and now they're just now making that adjustment to D1. I think they made the official switch a couple days ago.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that. July 1st, officially, Bellarmine is now a D1 school completely, but obviously, just starting out. Yeah.
Right, which is a good honor in itself, but at least over at USC Upstate, it's a little more established. Mm-hmm. Plus, she's going to be with a familiar face with Becky Burke. They've played together. They've done some coaching together. They've recruited together. So they kind of line up a little bit well with their philosophies. And by already having a coaching staff that meshes well with a new coaching staff, it's going to make it easier working with the team and getting things prepared.
Yeah, both of them are part of Jeff Walls' squad that in his second year went to the NCAA final game. Burke being, of course, the prolific three-point shooter, and Candace Bingham now Candace Bingham Wheeler, an incredible rebounder who transferred in after playing 2 years at Xavier, came back to Louisville, joined up with the team, and was, of course, part of that squad that featured such stars we'll always remember, like Angel McCaughtry was on that team. Also, Des Bird, never underestimate what she did for that team. Basically, having Jeff Wall say to her, "You're going to be the point guard this year. Guess what?"
Yeah. So many great players on this team. I was just pulling up the roster from that year, and it's Des Bird, Shantice Wright, Monique Reed, Laura Terry. Remember Laura Terry? Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great stuff. What a year that was.
An incredible season. Kansas, of course, teamed up quite a bit down low with Angel to make some plays. And the thing that Candace, I think, learned about it is that she did, have a great high school career here, but I don't think she was very heavily recruited by then Coach Tom Collin for the Cards. Felt maybe just a little bit slighted or whatever, but decided to try going out of town for a couple years. But I think the Cardinal coaching staff, once Walsh took over, made a prime directive of trying to get Bingham back to Louisville and play some ball, and it certainly paid off in high dividends for her. UC Upstate, a team that does play some good competition, guys. They played North Carolina, South Carolina in past years, but you've got to just maybe look at this as being one more stopping point on the ladder, Jared, as Becky continues to climb up that coaching tree.
Yeah, I don't see her over there at UofL Upstate for a long time, as we've kind of seen how well she's progressing. That I think after probably about 3-4 seasons, we may see her move on up to more of a mid-level D1 program. I don't think she's quite ready for that Power 5 conference yet, but she has proven herself capable of being a strong coach, strong leadership, and that although she's gotten far already, there's still a long way to go with her potential.
Yeah, and it's she hasn't spent more than I think 2 years at any one school at this point. Just as she's continued to move up this coaching ladder, that she was an assistant for 2 years at Cal State Fullerton. She spent I think 2 years at Embry-Riddle Prescott, 2 years now at West Virginia Charleston. I mean, that seems to be the pace that she's on. Every time she's taking a step upward. Now, I don't think anybody can really fault her. I think all these schools probably know what they're getting into with her. It's certainly at this point that she's an up-and-coming coach. So it's exciting to see.
We'll certainly be following her pursuits if we do get a women's college basketball schedule for us this year. And if they do get a chance to actually play, I'm pretty sure there will be a season, guys. I'm just wondering whether there will be any type of fan response in actually attending games and how they'll cover it as far as media representation, those sort of things. All that to be worked out still. The thing is, if they play games, we'll make sure and put something up there because we got 2 Cardinals down there at USC Upstate. We want to certainly support and follow them, fellas. Sure do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love to get to see them come up to the KFCM Center because there'd be a big fan base, assuming they can allow fans in the arena, that would be more than happy to support Becky Burke and Candace Bingham Wheeler. Although they will be coaching for the opposing team, there's not going to be any hard feelings there.
We were talking about that last night at this gathering I was at, and I think Walsh could hold a 4-team tournament at the KFCM Center and get all ex-Cardinal assistant or player coaches in there. He could bring in Cincinnati with Michelle Clark-Hurd. He could certainly bring in Florida, who has Cam Newbauer.
Mm-hmm.
That would be another team you could bring in. Bring in Becky and the girls from USC Upstate, put his own team out there. And maybe, if one of them couldn't make it, call Beth Ann Ord and see if she could bring her team from Binghamton down. So,
is she at Binghamton now? I was still thinking she was at Weber State. Yep.
No, she actually went to Binghamton to take over that program.
I do remember that now. Okay.
Yeah, so certainly a lot of good ones there. And then maybe we could even bring in Matthew Mitchell to watch and give us play-by-play commentary. Matty, of course, was the subject of some news earlier as well, as he actually went in for brain surgery on to remove a hematoma that he had suffered in a fall back in March. Fortunately for him, his family, and certainly the UK women's basketball program all went well with the surgery. He is recovering, and also that chip that they planted in his head that has the mantra "lose to Louisville" will certainly come into play later on.
Right. When you put those rivalries aside, especially with the close rivalry like that, you always wish the best in health and safety for the opposing coaches and players and everybody. So hearing that his brain surgery was successful is always nice to hear.
Yeah, and I always talk about with rivalry games and rivalry teams, you want your rival to be a good team, right? I mean, you don't want to go in there and just like plaster them every time. That's not fun. That doesn't build a good rivalry. You want it to be a competitive game, and so you want the teams to be on the same sort of level. At least I do. I don't know. So, and you don't want to. You don't want to see them come on hardships because of medical reasons or whatever that undermine the ability of the team to play, and of course, just as a person to a person, you never want to see somebody suffer an injury like that and have to deal with the consequences. Or if they do, you want to see them, come out of it on the in healthy and hale, and it sounds like he is, which is great.
Hey, and he's not a coach that you can love to hate either. He's actually a pretty personable guy. He's friendly. That he's great with the players. He's a guy that is very, very passionate about women's college basketball. Some of his post-game pressers that we've had the chance to experience over the years, Jared, have been pretty interesting. And he's definitely a guy who is good for women's college basketball. So certainly very happy that he was able to pull through this. And we certainly hope that Ryan Howard will decide that she isn't going to try too hard against Louisville down in the KFC Center this year, right? Because she damn near destroyed us last year up there on the rough, buddy.
She was pretty close to leading them on that comeback there, right at the end.
I mean, it's a final shot. Either it goes in or it doesn't. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it bounced off for the Cardinals. But so they come in, and they've also done quite well, Kentucky women's basketball, in bringing in some transfers and bringing in some highly prized high school recruits.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews got himself a heck of a team. He's built up there for the 2021 season, and certainly will.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, obviously that game last year, to touch on that, it was that's a perfect example of why I say you want your rival to be a good team. That was a great game. Everybody was glued to the edge of their seats. It was exciting. It was fun. Fortunately, we came out on top, which makes it even better. But you want it to be a good game like that to really get the most out of it. We talked about last year was that they were a limited team a little bit. They had Ryan Howard and kind of some other players out there. They're fine players, but they're not superstars. They're not all stars. And so to get the opportunity for another bigger team, more balanced team to come out there will hopefully make this an even better game.
That true, and also they got probably my favorite name in women's college basketball player, Treasure Hunt, is
That's
now
awesome.
The Wildcats. Yes, you gotta love those parents. Well,
and we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. My internet connection dropped, and as I run the connection for the streaming, it dropped everything. My apologies. I've had struggles with my internet connection for a while. Let's hope it stays up and running for the rest of the show. We'll see. My apologies, Paulie. We were kind of wrapping up the UK basketball topic as it dropped, so...
one of those things that you run into when, of course, you are reading via Skype and through the internet.
Yep.
And we just deal with it.
Yep.
But in conclusion, to kind of sum up what we were saying, certainly we wish the best to Matthew Mitchell Certainly, you never want to hear any ill will about any college coach out there that is hit by something as serious as having to have brain surgery, and certainly hope that they can that he can come back and still be the affable, kind of genial coach that was able to not only get Ryan Howard but Treasure Hunt on that squad. They are certainly going to be a foe we're going to have to worry about down the road, guys. Always. I'm tickled to see they're going to be in the KFC Yum Center this year because having to go up to Rupp Arena or even back to Memorial with that team he's got this year could be a rough road to hoe, fellas.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Speaking of coaches, and I don't know if this part of it actually got in the previous segment or not, but we're speaking of coaches in general. There was a certain coach that made an announcement this week, ACC related, as Joanne P. McCauley, the head women's basketball coach at Duke for the last 15 or so years, announced earlier this week due to a contract dispute with the athletic board there. She was resigning from her role as the head coach of the Blue Devils, and certainly a surprise maybe to some. Was it the actual factual story why she resigned? Was she kind of given a proposition of either you resign or we fire you? I don't know, guys. There's a lot more pages to this book I'd like to read, but we didn't get them all. Jared, you've been following her like I have for quite a few years. What's your take on the McCauley situation?
Well, she's coming down to her final year of her contract. So you knew something was going to happen one way or another, either with the contract extension or the mutual agreement to part ways. They haven't had the success in recent years as they have in the past, but part of that does go along with being in a conference with UofL, the Notre Dame of old, Florida State, Virginia Tech. So if you can't beat those teams, you're going to have a tough time in the ACC, and that may have been part of what was going on there. Is maybe they decided they want to go with a fresh face and try some new ideas out to see what might be a success.
No, Jeff, she certainly drew the ire of a lot of Louisville fans a few years ago when she was able to get Rebecca Greenwell, the Owensboro All-Stater, to go there. She certainly had a very good point guard in Lexi Brown, who the Cardinals really chased before she decided to go to Duke as well. But as Jared said, the results just haven't been there for Joanne P. over the last few years.
Yeah, she draw the ire of UofL fans may overstate it a little bit. Obviously, we were disappointed in our decision to go to Duke, but ultimately, I think it probably is. We did all right. She also has drawn the ire of some Duke fans. There's a lot of the Duke fan base that really gotten to the point that they were ready for her to leave, and that may feed into this as well. What's curious to me is that she did have another year on her contract left. Why make the decision now? Why not wait until the end of next year and see what happens? Maybe she makes a great run to the Final Four, and it might get her a new extension to her. I don't know. It could be that she was just tired of the situation, ready to move on herself. So that's always possible. But the stated reason was that there was uncertainty about the contract renewal, and so she decided to make the exit now. I don't get it. That I get the uncertainty with the contract. If I were the administration there, I would be uncertain about extending her contract. I don't get her decision to go ahead and toss in the towel on this. So, yeah, it's confusing to me.
One thing we know for sure, Jared, is that she won't be on that bench this fall. She's gone. Bye-bye. So the next, I guess, logical question is, who comes in to take over the Duke women's basketball program?
Yeah, there's been quite a few names tossed around in terms of who may be taking that position. I know that Michelle Clark-Hurd has been one of those names listed, the UofL graduate who's currently coaching up in Cincinnati. She's made a good name of herself. And then I think you had mentioned Lindsay up there. Forgive me if I mispronounce her last name, Gottlieb, with the Cavaliers.
Correct.
She may leave the NBA and come back to women's basketball.
Yeah, Lindsey Gottlieb certainly was a heck of a coach at Cal, and certainly, if you'll remember correctly, Jeff looked like one of our studio technicians at the old
Yeah,
WCHD back
yeah,
in the day.
indeed, a little bit, yeah.
So whether she's ready to jump back into the college coaching realm or not remains to be seen. I'm sure there are some very good assistants out there. One that I thought of was Shay Ralph, who's been Gino's assistant up at UConn for quite a few years. How long is she going to be, I guess, the coach in waiting, as Gino shows no signs of slowing down? Is it maybe to her benefit to jump to another program for 4 or 5 years, get some head coaching experience under her belt, and then when Gino finally decides to sit down and retire, they can say, "Hey, she had 5 years down at Duke. They weren't back. Let's bring her back up." What do you think about that, guys?
I think it's not a bad decision. Obviously, there's some uncertainty with what UConn's situation right now is. They just switched, as we were talking earlier about Bellarmine switching to D1. UConn just switched from the AAC to kind of back to the Big East and joined the Big East Conference. Of course, it's a different look of a conference now than it was back then when they were in it previously. But yeah, it might give her an opportunity to go out and work in another conference, a Power 5 conference, see how it goes. And then come back in up at UConn in the future is a very real possibility. I'm not sure Duke would be comfortable with that. Bringing in an assistant, thinking, oh well, she's just going to go back to UConn whenever Gino decides to retire. That might be something for them to kind of be paused on and take a pause on. So I don't know. It'd be interesting.
And Jared, let's not underestimate the passion and the fervor that the Duke campus has for basketball. Certainly on the men's side with Coach K, the kind of mystique and the aura of Cameron Arena with the Cameron crazies and all that. The women's program, I think, is certainly going to have to put on a search where they find somebody that may be an up and coming coach, but will come in and take the job for a number of years, as has been proven with that. They've even talked about bringing back the old Duke coach, Gail Gorston coach, who was there before Joanne came in. Your thoughts on this?
Duke's definitely a basketball school, so it's no surprise that they do focus more on that, especially with women's basketball, as opposed to mirror the men. We've never seen the success with Duke's women's basketball team as much as we have with their men's team, and maybe they're just trying to find something to help, make them both about at the same level and get there towards the top. That's about the only thing I could think of in that.
In this past season, they did come on strong at the end of the ACC schedule. I think they ended up tying for third. I think they were fourth seeded in the ACC tournament. They did get knocked out of that. But Haley Garecki, certainly a ball player that everybody admired in the league. What a fantastic game she had for her. If you're a coach and all of a sudden, you put in your resume to Duke and they say, come on in for an interview, what do you say to the Duke Athletic Administration, the hiring board, to get hired at Duke? I mean, do they actually go the route of some of the other schools and go take a TV commentator? Something like that. I mean, what's Duke looking for? How do you get that Duke job?
Man, I don't know. That's an interesting question. A TV commentator could be interesting. There are some that have been good coaches in the past that could be available. I think somebody mentioned Debbie Antonelli, perhaps. And I guess if you really want to go all offense all the time, she would be a good choice. That's not my way of wouldn't be the way of my way of coaching. But then that's not where I get my paycheck. So. That's a possibility. It's interesting you mentioned Gail Geston-Corzo. I did want to come out and say Duke came out this morning and said she is not a candidate.
Okay.
Which is curious, actually, to actually come out and say that publicly before decisions are made, I think is a very curious move on their part. But, the three you mentioned in your article, I guess it was yesterday, Michelle Clark-Hurd, Lindsey Gottlieb, Gail Geston-Corzo, those were all mentioned along with some others by Michelle Vopel on ESPN,
Yeah.
whose opinion I respect incredibly in women's basketball. She's a really great thinker on this. To throw a couple of others out there that Michelle threw out there, Katie Meyer out of Miami. That would be an in-conference switch. That's not as common to see, but it's a possibility. Adia Barnes out of Arizona, up-and-coming coach down there. Tina Langley at Rice, kind of a mid-major squad there. She mentioned Michelle Clark-Hurd. Jenny Branchik. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that name right. My apologies if I'm not. Coach at Drake is a possibility. I know very little about her. Michelle mentioned Shay Ralph out of UConn. Joyce Smith is a Clemson assistant that she mentioned. So I know very little about her. And then another possibility of a pro coach coming back would be Kurt Miller. Connecticut Sun was mentioned as well. So I know very little about him. So, and down at the bottom it was like, oh yeah, there's also some other candidates that always seem to get mentioned, like Jeff Walz. So the name got in there, but it's like the last paragraph, and also like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's going to get mentioned, but it seemed to be pretty much in passing. Her comment is, other male candidates who might be considered are Louisville's Jeff Walz, whose name seems to get mentioned in a lot of coaching searches, but has a very good job, parentheses, and good pay with the Cardinals. So she's kind of discounting that one.
I'm just waiting, as I mentioned in my article, for some hill jack somewhere to come out of the woods and try to make a name for himself or herself for 15 minutes and throw Walls in negotiations with Duke.
Yeah,
Walls.
I'm sure someone will mention him and his name will get brought up. I don't see it being realistic. I see no benefit for him to move to Duke right now, none whatsoever.
Yeah, there's nothing. So just forget about it. So I had the chance this week to get some interviews from UofL coaches. Jeff Walz came to us on Monday with a teleconference kind of presser where he caught the media up on the program as it was. We found out some very interesting things from that. Walz, obviously, he doesn't try to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. He's straightforward about things. He talks about things. He's certainly itching to get back in there with those players. And I think it's July 20th, Jared, if I remember right, is that startup date again. Walz is always pretty much the same. He just hits it right between the eyes and tells you the truth, doesn't
he? He's a straightforward guy. He won't really beat around the bush. He may say something in a more sarcastic way, but the intention is still straightforward. But I do like that he brings that sarcasm and that fun when he's telling you something, so it doesn't always come across it in a negative connotation.
Absolutely, and make sure and get tickets or try to wrangle an invite to the party that he and Tim Sullivan are going to throw later on this year. That should be quite interesting. Yeah. But Walz did mention, a couple of things we already knew, and basically a lot of this was just a recap for the television media guys who needed 15 or 20 seconds of soundbite out of the coach. But we did find out, of course, that the Cards are all on campus except for Haley Van Lith, who, due to classes and 4th of July weekend, won't be coming until after the 4th of July. Certainly a heralded arrival when she gets there to work with them. They're currently only doing like 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 drills right now for limited periods of time. Walz made it very clear, though, that if a player was uncomfortable in any type of situation that involved what they were doing on campus right now, they would have the option of not to participate. And I think that's very important right now, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the responsible thing to do. It's the humane thing to do. It's the just basic common sense thing to do. If there's a feeling of uncomfort, or if there is a concern that there might have been an exposure to this very virulent virus, then step away. Make sure you take care of yourself and others. Particularly the emphasis on the last part as well, that this is not just your own personal well-being that you're dealing with here. You're also dealing with the people around you. And you're out on a basketball court, you're breathing hard, you're expelling sweating and all this other, there's a good chance of transmission if you're in close proximity there. So that would be something that would want to be very careful with. So, and apparently Jared's parents' dog agrees with me. So.
And you've got the canine crew behind you doing
Hey, right? We don't deserve dogs, so
Eat your heart out, Texas A&M. We got our own pooch here in Louisville. Okay, take your collie dog and get on out of here. The aspect of right now, the Cardinals getting everybody on campus though, and starting to get together on that. We don't really know for sure what's going to happen in the fall. Nobody does. But I think even at this early stage of things, building team unity, showing a solidarity is very, very important for the Cards because, let's face it, guys, a lot of good players graduated, and there's a lot of answers that need to be, I think, kind of made here for who's coming back, what's going to happen with them. How are these freshmen going to work into what Walls has? Who's going to rebound? Which of the point guards is going to start? There's a lot of questions out there, Jared.
He's mentioned the idea of a 4-guard lineup, and I think that is a real good possibility with the roster that we see and know as of right now.
Oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please.
Yeah. We'd all like to see that 4-guard lineup.
Can we get a dog bark on that?
Right, because we've seen in the past with his offensive style, he likes to move the ball up court quickly. He's not a fan of a lot of dribbling up court. He wants to catch defenses off guard and put the pressure on him that way. And then on defense, he does like the in-your-face press that we've seen from several solid players in the past, most recently some such as AC and Dana, and then also Mikasa Robinson. So that 4-guard lineup could really put some opposing teams out of whack. But then you need at least keep one post player in there. You got to have your rebounder because that's in some seasons we've seen where rebounding has struggled, and then there's other seasons where you've had some solid players that may have been like a Maisha Hines-Allen who were just a rebounding machine.
Yeah, I think the rebounding is something that a lot of people aren't really putting a prime amount of attention on. But if you go back and take a look, we've had some very, very excellent rebounding forces at the University of Louisville. I'll start with, as the most recently, Kylie Shook. I'll take you back to Sam Fearing. I'll take you back to Maisha Hines-Allen. Even going back to further days than that, you had Monique Reed, Courtney Walton, basketball players that knew how to get to the boards and grab the rebounds. I guess my question is, who steps up to be that person now? And I'm going to put my bet down on Liz Dixon, guys. Take it from there.
Yeah, I think she's the obvious person to look to as someone who has had a fair amount of playing time in this system and has the height and ability to be in there. Honestly, one of our top rebounders last year was Elizabeth Balagoon. Now the dog's not happy with me. So, but hey, she was one of our top rebounders last year, coming in off the wing. I don't think you can count on that being the primary rebounder, but you think you have to factor her into that discussion a little bit.
I agree with that. Olivia Cochran, Jared, she's been getting a lot of print and press, and your dog obviously loves her. This is a girl's coming in as a freshman, but man, she's got some board prowess, doesn't she?
She's showing in high school her solid rebounding skills. So if we don't see Liz Dixon step up, as Jeff had mentioned, who's got a lot of that UofL on-court experience, Olivia Cochran could be a good one. Although I like how you mentioned Elizabeth Balagoon a minute ago, just because what we saw out of her last year. She's not the biggest player, but when it comes to understanding how the ball hits the rim and which direction it's going to go from there, she reads it well. And so she always finds herself in the right place to pull the rebound in. So there are a few good candidates there, and I think if we do have a freshman or a first-year Cardinal, because we do have some transfers, I think Olivia Cochran would be the best choice in that.
So certainly, as that plays out, guys, all I can advise you is to don't blink when Cardinal basketball comes back, because it's going to be fast up and down the court.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. We've kind of come to associate that with Jeff Wall's ball, but I think that'll definitely be the case here this year.
Yeah, Walls didn't want to cover the same amount of ground twice. He wants to keep moving. That's for sure. No stall ball there. So I had a chance to hear from Karen Ferguson Days earlier this week as she did a presser about women's soccer, and talked a little bit about Gabby Vincent, who used to be known as Gabby Squared back when she played for the Cards.
Well, along with Gabby Cazellas. Let's be fair. Let's include them both in here.
That's true. The Gabby and Gabby's still with the Cardinals.
That's right.
Gabby Vincent right now up with Utah, playing up there where all the teams in the NWSL are playing up in Utah, up there in a tournament type, playoff type, elimination type format. Gabby's on the roster for Utah. Didn't get a chance to play, but I think that we heard some really good things out of Karen Ferguson Days about her.
Yeah, and I did not get to listen to this, and I am planning on going back and listening to it because hearing from KFD is always interesting. But Vincent was always someone that we all, and I know you did, Polly, particularly a lot, really enjoyed interviewing. She was always personable and fun, and laugh and smile, so which is always great in an interview to be able to have someone respond that way. She's also a really good backfielder. So, is she still finding her footing at this professional sports level, top level, American soccer? Yeah, but she's also still got plenty of playing time in front of her. She's pretty young, so she's got some time to develop and improve her situation and hopefully find some time out on the field.
Allegedly, here, Jared, the women's soccer schedule is set and ready to go. We did find out that a exhibition that was planned against Butler University has been canceled. But other than that, the schedule supposedly is set. I haven't seen the schedule appear yet at Go Cards, though, so I really can't post it on the website.
Still shows last year's, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether it's just they need to get ACC information on when games will be played in order to do that. I'm fairly certain the non-conference games are etched in, a definitive date to play, right? But so I don't know. I'm kind of wondering what the delay is. We've got volleyball out there already. Why are we being held up on women's soccer?
I think a lot of those schedule delays are just due to the uncertainty of what's going to happen. And you're seeing where student athletes are testing positive at different schools right now. So we don't know which schools are still having seasons versus which ones are going to go ahead and, for safety concerns, say no. And I think that's what we may have seen with volleyball, because the non-conference schedule is pretty short and it's a lot of local teams to help with traveling. And I'm wondering, maybe women's soccer is heading that same direction if they're trying to figure out ways that teams can still safely travel, as well as which teams are going to be okay and ready to play. And that may have been part of why Butler chose to cancel. But then once again, that was just an exhibition, so an exhibition doesn't really hurt. And I think maybe they just wanted to limit exposure with a match that wouldn't count on the record anyways.
Certainly excited to see them get together again, starting as a team on July the 20th, and then their first game, actually just a little over a month right past that, in it was August 24th, I think I saw. Lynn, we don't know whether we're going to be allowed in Lynn or not, whether it's going to be a no fan, limited media type of coverage. I think we'll learn a lot more about that as far as the feasibility, guys, when FC gets started, though, and there is going to be attendance for that, fellas.
Yeah, I don't know how applicable one is to the other, because different facilities, different setups, and a little different priorities. FC is obviously going to push hard to do it because they're a commercial entity that, they kind of need to make some money. They just spent a lot of money on a stadium, so they need to start getting some return out of that. And I don't want to just paint them as heartless capitalists here. I'm have a huge respect for the operations of that organization, and don't want to paint them in a bad light. I know they're being responsible and taking it seriously, but you know, could U of L say, yeah, we're just not going to have fans in the stands for women's soccer? Yeah, probably they could. It is a revenue sport. They do sell tickets to it, but it's not going to be a huge hit to the revenue, so it's probably not that big a deal from that perspective. So if it's the only way to do it and do it reasonably in that facility with that setup, it could very well be what they do.
From a photographer's standpoint, Jared, certainly no worries about you for spacing and social distancing at a soccer match, unlike some of the other sports you shoot. Uh, I think it's going to be okay if they would let some limited people in, provided that we don't get too crazy with this virus in the next month or so. Your thoughts on it?
With the outdoor sports, I don't see much of a problem. When you're looking at women's soccer and even field hockey being another outdoor sport, for the most part, you don't see a full stadium with fans. So even the number of fans that typically go to a game or a match, you can still spread them out with your 6-foot social distancing rules. Your issues may come to more in terms of concession stands or restrooms where you're very compact and limited. But if you're just there watching the match, there's enough room between the four sides. You've got your chair backs on your main side. You've got your open bleachers at the boiling point. Then you've kind of got the berm on the other two sides. There's plenty of room to spread out as a fan. And then when you're looking at us photographers, we can spread out without having issues. You look at those matches, we're usually pretty distance as is. I think the bigger concern would be you all more up in the press box and how they want to handle that situation.
I certainly agree with that. And even though the Lynn Stadium press box is one of the bigger ones up there, I do have a little fear and trepidation of actually going in into that closed-in area, the same air being circulated over and over again for a 2-hour, 3-hour stretch. I would prefer just to sit outside and watch, but we'll see.
Yeah, which I guess is an option for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nobody says I've got to be sitting in there.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's information that flows through the press box that's nice to get, I know, but, if you're willing to sacrifice that, you could go, sit in a open area of the stands.
Certainly joined my buddy Case out there who had done that in past years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. I think we've got a pretty well good catch up here on the things that were U of L sports for the week. We do have a quiz for you today.
All right.
Quiz, Big Maestro. And we have last week's co-champions back.
Yeah.
Have a grudge match, a duel off, as they were to speak. Case, obviously, who did so poorly last week, has decided not to join the show. No, I'm kidding. He's out of the way this week.
Case is off glamping, so.
Doing whatever he does in a tent, so that could be fun, I suppose. But the subject of this week's quiz is no balls. That's right. We're going to talk about some of the sports that the University of Louisville participates in where balls don't come into play. That's right. So we'll go ahead and start it out. You get 10 points for each correct answer. There is a bonus at the end of the quiz if you're playing along at home that's worth 20 points. You can choose to take it, not choose to take it. And it's been a decider maker in past weeks, but it's totally up to our participants on the quiz question. It's after the first 10 questions. Laptop stand. Well, no, not a laptop stand. Everybody ready at home? Here we go. No balls is the subject today. Question number 1 for you. This swimmer for the University of Louisville was recently named a COSIDA All-American. Yes, that great honor. Who is a swimmer? Was it A, Nick Evans, B, Nick Albiero, C, Nick Curran, or D, Sammy Steele? Jared, why don't you go first? Which of these 4?
I'm pretty sure you only gave one actual swimmer there.
I know, right?
Nick Albiero on that one.
Yeah, same answer for me.
They both go with Nick Albiero, and that is the correct answer. Sammy Steele actually is a swimmer, but anyway. The other 2, Nick, of course, being part of the U of L Sports Information and Broadcast crew. I would like to see a swim match against them. Who would win that between Nick Evans and Nick Curran. My money's on Nick Curran. He's got a little more stretch and length to him.
Yeah, a little bit.
Perhaps. All right, they're both perfect after one. Question number 2 goes to you. This swimmer set 3 women's swimming records at UofL in the freestyle event. Yes, the freestyle event. Is it A, Mallory Comerford, B, Andrea Cottrell, C, Kelsey Worrell, or D, Holly April? Which one of these 4 set 3 women's swimming records in the freestyle? Jared?
I'm gonna have to stick with the 3-time champion Mallory Comerford on that one.
He's going to go with A, Mallory Comerford. Jeff, you in agreement?
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey Worrell was known for her butterfly. She was also a very good freestyle swimmer. But yeah, I think it was Comerford that set that number of records.
It was indeed A, and Mallory Comerfield still holds 3 of those records. Of course, Andrea Cottrell was known for the breaststroke.
Okay.
And
I was thinking backstroke, but yeah. Okay.
Kelsey Worrell, the queen of the butterfly, and what she did, and Holly April, the queen of the base pass in softball.
Yeah.
Don't know about her pool capabilities. Perhaps we could throw her into the pool after a win, Jared. Just run her over from Elmer and see how she handles the pool. And then get our press passes pulled. They're both perfect. Question number 3 for you. The Cardinal swimmers perform at A, Lakeside Pool, B, the KFC Yum Center, C, the Ralph Wright Natatorium, or D, Traeger Field. Where do the Cardinal swimmers perform? What do you got for me, Jared?
It's definitely the Ralph Wright Natatorium, although it'd be nice to watch him go swim over at Lakeside.
Nice facility there. Are you in agreement, Jeff?
Yeah, I think Lakeside has the capabilities to do it, but yeah, it's the Ralph Wright is the facility on Floyd Street, pretty much across from Traeger. So,
Lakeside is a nice facility for sure, but yes, it is the Ralph Wright Natatorium, and Ralph Wright, of course, a very, very huge booster for the University of Louisville, stuff like that, and a beautiful facility, a great place to go watch swimming over there, Ralph Wright Natatorium. The guys are 3 for 3. I should have made this quiz much tougher,
yeah.
but let's go with question number 4. This Cardinal distance runner is now an ICU nurse. How about that? Going from Cardinal distance running to becoming an ICU nurse? Is it A, Rachel Peace, B, Dorcas Wasicki, C, Bailey Berry, or D, Claire Nozier? Which one of those 4 is now an ICU nurse? Peace, Wasicki, Berry, or Nozier? Jared, what do you got?
Pretty sure it's Rachel Peace on that, because she became famous when she won her sportsmanship award a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I believe that's correct. Yeah, and she demonstrated her caring and compassion for others on the course, and presumably still doing so now.
They both go with A, Rachel Peace, but the answer is, in fact, D, Claire Nozier.
Okay.
Who was an ICU nurse out in Colorado, there at the Colorado, I think Aurora, Colorado emergency room. Rachel Peace in pediatrics, guys, a pediatrics nurse. You were correct in the fact that she is a nurse, but not ICU.
Okay.
So, and of course, we don't know about Dorcas Wasicki. She's still on the roster. We hope to see her return again.
Yeah, I think she's got another year of eligibility, so she should be back. So we'll see how she does. She had a bit of an injury last year. She worked through, I think.
Did indeed one of the greatest distance runners that the cross-country program has had in Louisville history. So, one blemish on the fellows as we go into question number 5. Jared, this will be your final time to go first. Which nation, other than the United States of America, is most represented on the Louisville women's cross-country squad? Which one of these nations has the most participants? Is it A, Uganda, B, Kenya, C, Canada, or D, France? Which one of these nations has the most represented runners on the Louisville squad? Uganda, Kenya, Canada, or France? What do you got, bud?
I know Rasiki's from Kenya, and I know a couple of the men's runners were from Kenya, but I'm not sure on the the women's side. So I'm just going to go with the gut instinct and stick with Kenya on that one.
He says Kenya. Jeff, what do you think on it?
Yeah, I'm actually going the same way. I was scrolling through the roster, actually, I think last week during the show, and I think I saw several Kenyan athletes on there. So
They both choose B Kenya, and the B Kenya is correct. That's right. Currently, 3 runners on the women's cross country team from the country of Kenya. So, certainly a country that's been long known for great distance runners in both men and women's cross country and track. But halfway through the quiz, we're still tied up at 4 each. Question number 6 for you. What do these 4 women I'm about to name have in common? The women are McKinley Forrest, Imani Henderson, Holly Hankerson, and Jerry Summers. What do they have in common? Is it A, they are from Kansas? Is it B, they threw the shot put? Is it D, they were transfers to Louisville? Or D, they are 100-yard dash specialists? McKinley Forrest, Imani Henderson, Holly Hankerson, and Jerry Summers. Jeff, what do you think they were good at?
I know at least 3 of them were throwers, so I'm going to guess shot put. Guessing that's probably the case across all 4. One I don't recognize.
He's going to go with the shot put. Jared, do you agree?
Yeah, I'm in agreement because Imani Henderson was the dead giveaway. Obviously, she's not a sprinter,
Yeah.
as we know. And then
Nor was she a transfer.
Yeah, she wasn't a transfer. She started off playing basketball before she switched over to track and field, which I think they were all shot putters.
The boys go with B, shot put, and the boys are correct. B, shot put. All 4 of those were shot put on the Louisville track and field team. Of course, Imani Henderson may be the most known, but McKinley Forrest certainly had a great career.
Yeah, did very well.
Holly Hankerson currently on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Summers did some wonderful things as well. Shot put was the answer. Question number 7 for you. Which of these are not known as a throwing event? Okay, which of these are not a throwing event? A, the shot put. B, the hammer. C, the javelin. Or D, the wrench? Which one of these are not a throwing event? Jeff, which one do you think?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
You just gotta go with that D, wrench. Jared, you got plumbers over at the apartment over there. You want to call them up and see if you can get an answer out of them?
Yeah, Jeff beat me to that dodgeball reference. So
Yeah.
which would be the answer.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Sometimes you just gotta throw the wrench. It is correct. D, the wrench is not a throwing event, although I'm sure that at certain times in their careers, the 4 shot put mentions I had earlier would have loved to throw in wrenches at Coach Caliper. Anyway, there we go. They got that correct. D, the wrench. Question number 8 for you. Louisville rowing, they do their training at A, the Greenwood Boat Docks, B, Taylorsville Lake, C, the G. Garvin Brown Center, or D, the Soupy Sales Center. Where does Louisville rowing do their training, Jeff?
Well, they really do their training out on the Ohio River, but based out of the G. Garvin Brown Boat Center down in Waterfront Park.
He says Garvin Brown. What do you say, Jared?
I'm in agreement. I think they also call it like the Louisville Rowing Club is another thing, but Jeff's right on that answer.
This beautiful 2-story facility, which is, of course, is down on the river, very near. I guess the closest thing you could probably say it's close to is a couple of dining establishments down on River Road.
The old tumbleweed down there. Mm-hmm. The Louisville Rowing Club, incidentally, is a separate thing. It's not a UofL thing, but it is like right next door. So it's a community.
Yeah, a fantastic facility down there. Incredible exercise machines, offices, the whole 9 yards. Kind of a campus away from campus for the rowers. Although I would have liked to see what he would have done at the Greenwood Boat Docks.
Yeah.
Question number 9 coming up as the guys are still tied here. Louisville Rowing's last NCAA championship appearance was in this year. When was the last time that the rowing team made the NCAA championship appearances? Was it A, 2018, B, 1997, C, 2020, or D, 2014? 18, 97, 20, or 14, Jeff?
I'm pretty sure the rowing program didn't exist in '97. Maybe not even in 2014. I think it did though, but it would have been pretty early. I'm gonna say 2018.
He goes with A, 2018. Jared, your thoughts?
They're pretty new. I don't like Jeff said. I don't think they were in the even existence in the '90s. But in terms of being in the championships, I don't think they'd ever won the ACC championship. But I thought they've competed in it, so I'd have to go with 2018.
He also chooses 2018. They're in agreement, but they're wrong.
Yeah.
The answer was 2014,
Yeah.
and the card actually went to Indianapolis
Huh.
for the NCAA championships for rowing. They finished 17th out of 22 teams that year, guys.
Yeah. And online, their roster goes back to 1999, 2000. So it's a longer term program than I've realized. I didn't realize they'd have been around that long. Interesting.
We stumped them.
Yeah.
We stumped them. They answered C, 2000, or D, 2014. We go into our final question of the regular round, and the fellas are tied up. Which of these ACC schools does not have a rowing program in the ACC? Is it A, Notre Dame, B, Pitt, C, Syracuse, or D, North Carolina? One of those schools does not have a rowing program. Notre Dame, North Carolina, Pitt, or Syracuse? Jeff, your thoughts?
Given that the city exists on 3 rivers, I think it's a little bit ironic that I think the answer is Pitt.
He's going to go with the Panthers. Jared, what do you think on this?
I remember that we've had Syracuse mentioned before. Obviously we've got one. Yeah, maybe Pitt, because I don't know of a lot of other than Syracuse, I don't know of a lot of northern rowing teams that ACC has. So I think Pitt would be, in terms of geography, next in line.
They've used their deductive reasoning. They worked out to an answer, and the answer is correct. It is Pitt. No rowing on the hill, as they like to refer to where their campus is, and certainly where there are 3 rivers there, but no rowing program for Pitt. Maybe down the road for them. Okay, we've got through our regular rounds here. The guys are still tied. They've got 80 each. Let's go into the bonus. It is a chance for one of them to win, one of them to lose, or to perhaps continue the tie. Jeff, will you accept the bonus question?
Of course.
Jared, you in for it?
Oh yeah, you always gotta go in. Gotta go.
The boys always take the bonus. They do indeed. Here we go. Your bonus question is, how many of the 12 Louisville women's sports do not involve balls? Okay. Is it A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5? How many of the 12 sports do not involve balls? 2, 3, 4, or 5? Jeff, it's on to you.
Yeah, trying to count. I'm gonna say, hang on.
He's got his shoes off now.
Yeah, no, I'm trying, and some of it is how do they classify these, right? What do they call separate sports to a degree? I think it's 4.
Jeff's going to go with 4 as an answer. Jared, your thoughts?
Going down the list, I had cross country, track and field, because they consider that one sport. In terms of sport related, I know they do go swimming and diving as one, and then rowing, which we've discussed. So I'd agree 4.
The boys have come up with 4 for an answer. According to the actual Louisville listing for athletics, there are 12 sports, and there are 4. That is correct. Cross country, swimming and diving, rowing, and track and field. Sports that do not involve balls. Although you could probably say track and field has a shot, but still that's not that.
Yeah, well, and I think Yeah, so I actually miscounted because I was counting track and field separately because I think technically speaking they have indoor and outdoor as separate sports. But technically, but that's a very nitpicky thing. But I'll take my 20 points anyway.
Yeah, the NCAA does divide those if you look on their
Yeah.
site, but I think
They
UofL
sure
just
do.
considers it all one.
UofL has it under one
Place
one
that.
category because it's basically the same people participating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think technically they're considered separate sports. But I'll take my 20 points, like I said.
The boys both take the bonus. The boys both get the bonus correct, and they both end up with 100 points on the quiz. Very well done. Another tie. So the grudge match will continue with them next time we're on the air
All right.
as they decide who is the master of the quiz. Jeff, a slow early season, but he came back out of the gutter and is now up there contending for the overall title
Getting there.
against the invincible Jared. Yes, indeed. All right, fellas, good quiz, a good show so far. Let's go ahead and segue on into our final thoughts segment. Jeff, you start us out this week. Final thoughts.
I went back last night. I had not done this since the season was over. I went back and watched that Texas UofL regional semifinal volleyball match. Oh man, that was a good match. Man, that was fun. It's available on YouTube. If it's a lot of fun. Go watch it. It's about an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half video on YouTube. They cut out like commercials and breaks and stuff, so it cuts it down to a lot shorter watch. So a lot of fun. Go check it out.
Certainly a lot of unhappy people in Austin, Texas after
Yeah.
that night.
Yeah.
For sure, weren't there? Yeah.
Gregory Gym, yeah.
It was fun. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. Jared, final thoughts from you, sir?
A couple of them real quick. Dad just shared something to me on Twitter that was just announced in the past 20 minutes or so. Assumption High School Hadley Snyder just committed to play soccer for the Louisville Cardinals. So
All right. Yeah, I just saw that.
congratulations to that.
All
Class
right.
of 2022 is what we're looking at there. And then also just released Joey Chestnut retaining his title as the hot dog eating champion.
I still don't think they should be able to soak those things in water, though. Okay, I just don't think it's fair, because that just defeats the whole purpose of eating a hot dog. I mean, how many times do you go to your vendor and say, "Yeah, let me have 2 soaked in water with mustard"? You don't. Either let them eat the dogs without the bun or with the bun, but no soaking in water, guys. Come on, all right?
I think I should make it a Skyline hot dog eating contest.
With the chili and the
Yeah.
onions and the cheese and oh boy, yeah, or make it a Chicago dog with everything that they put on those, like the banana peppers, and all that stuff. Wow, that could be fun. But anyway, congratulations to Joey Chestnut. Yeah. Final thoughts out of me. Just looking really forward to a couple of things coming up here at the end of the month. We'll talk about these more as we get there. Things that are going to happen on July 20th when coaches actually get to crack back with the players again, to get to talk with them, to work with them, to do some things with them. And certainly hoping, I guess, kind of not so much a plea, but a very, very strong statement saying that I hope that there are going to be able to be fall sports. I know we're seeing a lot of bad reports about practices that where the COVID violence is hitting major programs, primarily in football, but in others as well. I just certainly hope that they can do something. I don't even care if it's in a bubble. I don't care if it's without fans. I just want to see some sports, guys. Okay? Just my thoughts, because that's what I do now.
Wear a mask.
Yeah, wear a mask, fellas, and even do what you got to do. Just go down out there. Certainly, happy 4th of July to you fellas. Hope you have a great day of it today and the rest of the weekend, all our listeners as well. And all right, Jared, I know you broke out the euphonium to play Hazel Miller's song. Hit it, buddy.
See if I can't get Riley to maybe bark a couple times.
That would be fantastic.
She's looking at me like it's nap time now.
There you go. Well, she made it through the show, and so did you. So thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks.